So.
Actually.
All right. So what brought you to MCC 2012?
I was actually asked to come just be on the panel. I really didn't know what to expect. I did know the campus of Northeastern. I've worked with them. I've had interns, I've had co-op students, I've had service learning students, and it had always been a very pleasurable experience. And to have such a large group, to have so much energy, I figured it has to be an opportunity for me to say something, to share my community, my work at Haley House, and what we do. Because we're never going to be a huge provider. What we are is just a community that tries to do what it can with the people that it has. And so it speaks to the power of a person. And so as you're looking at young people that are getting ready to go and conquer the world, it's more than just belief in yourself. It's actually the power to bring about change, the power to do good. We've learned the power of failure sometimes as well. And Haley House, we try and meet that. But for you guys, as students, you're able to do so much more. But you have to have the knowledge, you have to have the courage, you have to have the insight, you have to have the wisdom given from other people. And sometimes the best wisdom can come from the mistakes of others. So that's my personal motivation. I could have done it differently, but I didn't. But from it, I learned, and that's my responsibility to share, just as people share with me.
Great. And so you kind of touched on this a little bit.
Sorry.
But, what's the significance of having 1,000 young students actually care about the big issues and wanting to get involved, whether locally or globally?
Again, it may be 1,000 people, but it's the work of each one. As they go home, as they go on to the world, whatever their call, their walk may be. So yes, it's 1,000 people, but it's the ability for each one to recognize their power and their ability to influence, to govern, to change, but then also to grow in responsibility. Because as they assume positions as their policymakers and leaders, to recognize also the voice, and not just the action. And so I think for me, that's sort of where I'm at. I may have been disenfranchised from action in some ways, but I still have a power of voice that I can share and I can inspire and that I can give hope. And maybe they'll take that with them, and they'll be renewed and they'll be excited, or maybe they'll be motivated to see greater potential in themselves than maybe they first thought when they came.
Thank you so much. And so what's one final piece of advice you'd like to leave these students with when they go home tonight?
Final piece for me, I think, when it's all said and done, you do what you can. Sometimes you'll do wonderful things and sometimes you'll fall short. But getting up and doing it day in and day out to the best of your ability. And it's not the marathon piece, it's talking about being in the moment. Is that learn to live for that moment, to give the best of yourself. Right? That's all that anybody can ever ask. You're not guaranteed the future, you can't change the past. But you can have the moment to say, right now I'm going to be, and I'm going to realize my potential. And then I'm going to be deliberate in the formation of who it is I want to be as a person.